Turnout to Pakistan as an expression of continuing support by Guyanese in general and Barbadians in particular for the PPC in the May 11 elections. The next statement reads as follows. The People's Progressive Party wishes to restate its position on public vetting and polling day staff. Time and again the party has been strong yet alone in its call for public scrutiny and those entrusted to uphold the integrity of our electoral process on election day. The important role of these individuals, or that these individuals play, in ensuring a free, transparent, and fair process can never be overemphasized. Experience has taught us that proper recruitment and training of bipartisan polling agent staff is a critical element in any electoral or surprise to the nation. Further, the party calls on GCOM to aggressively intensify its voters' education program throughout the country, more so in the rural and riverine areas and hinterland regions. The party has recognized the increase in the amount of first-time voters from previous elections, and GCOM must ensure that some amount of targeted PR on voting is done. As we know, voters' knowledge of E-Day procedures will only serve to boost the efficiency and effectiveness of the voting process. It can further assist in significantly reducing the large amount of rejected ballots accounted for in 2011 elections, whether these were intentional or mistaken acts. Further, the PPP is concerned over the large number of ID cards yet to be uplifted from GCOM centers. As was reported, almost 4,000 cards are still with GCOM. Will the cat and mouse game continue, or is it that GCOM has a plan or is working on a plan to get these cards out? Long gone is the sit-and-wait approach. A more proactive approach must be taken to distribute the ID cards and at the same time re-verify these individuals. The party is aware that a voter can cast his or her ballot without identification once they are on the OLE and take an identity oath, but also appreciated is the fact that persons should have their national ID cards once available. The PPP calls on GCOM to expedite this process in a timely manner, since it will serve to further test the integrity of the official list of electors, OLE. While the PPP appreciates the fact that more efforts are needed to increase voters' turnout, concerns remain over the legitimacy and integrity of those with fly-by-night interests in voters. The party welcomes all accredited and inclusive organizations with a Put Guyana First approach to come on board and assist in whatever way possible in making the May 11th regional and general elections free and fair and free from fear. Thank you.
Thanks. You there you have the two statements. Questions?
Sir, Madam Harris, the annual pilgrimage to Babujan generally sees people coming from all over the country. And according to reports, fewer and fewer people from the Port Moran area. Was yesterday different?
No. Yesterday was different in the sense that we have what is described as a catchment area. My understanding from our activists and the people who live in those areas is that yesterday's activity was qualitatively different in the sense that the residents from the catchment area turned out in much larger numbers.
And the catchment area was?
The catchment area is from Anchorville to Bolam on the quarantine east Berbice.
So the follow-up to that would be there was less need for transportation to move people there then?
No, it doesn't follow so. There will always be need for transportation for people coming from as far down as Crabwood Creek or probably Investment Base. But the question was whether they turn it from the catchment area. Well, different this year. It was different this year. But that doesn't, the two questions are, you know, in a sense different. What?
Was yesterday's activities and launch of the party's campaign? If not, when the party campaign will be launched?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't the launch of the party's campaign. The party will launch its campaign at a time to be announced later on.
Yeah, could you tell us when the party will launch its manifesto?
No, I can't tell you that. When we're ready to do all those launches, we will certainly let the media know.
Minister Handel Duncan, HGP Nightly News. The last time you raised some concerns about the Guyana National Youth Council and their...
No, we have moved up on this issue.
I'm tying in it to the last statement you made, saying that the party still has concerns about those groups with fly-by-night interests.
You're saying that the NYC has a fly-by-night interest?
No, I'm making a linkage between the two, right? You just made a statement, and the last time you said that the party has some concerns about that grouping. So I want to know if it is that you're talking about the very organization here when you made that
No,
statement.
if I need to talk about the NYC, I'll name the NYC. I don't have to camouflage what I want to say in garbled or, you know, other language. If I want to name the NYC, I'll name the NYC, but I haven't made any mention of them.
All right, those concerns you had the last time, those who have since been addressed with GCOM and this grouping?
What concern?
Regarding that organization, saying that it has some linkage with the LEAD project.
Yes, we have written to GCOM about that, and the youth arm of the party has raised it also as well in the public domain. So our position is out there. We have nothing to hide.
Any positive response with getting your interests?
Not formally. I've seen Mr. Surbali. Some statement purported to have been issued by Mr. Surbali on the subject, but I haven't heard anything formally from him as yet in respect to the PPP concerns.
Sorry. Neil Marks, Capital News. Sir, does the PPP usually pay guys for the trucks that transport the supporters? Like the one at Abuja?
Was that?
No, those are private lorries.
No, those are not Gaisuko lorries. Those are private lorries.
Sir, do you agree with everything that was said on the platform, including what could be considered bogus statements by former President Jackio?
Listen, we went there as a team. All three of us, the president, former president, and myself, are members of the leadership of the party, the Central Committee and the Executive Committee. We stand by what was said by each other, by each one. So whether I disagree with, you know, that's neither here nor there. These are members of the leadership of the party. So you could very well ask them if they hold a separate press conference, if they agree with what I said. But it doesn't make any sense. Huh?
As the head of the party at an event to celebrate the life of Dr. Jagan, do you think that those statements were appropriate?
What did you consider to be vulgar language?
Well, at a memorial for its president to say that, the former president to speak about kicking somebody in their asses and those kind of statements.
No, I don't think he said you should consider kicking somebody in their asses. I think he said, these were his words, that Donald, you are too democratic, and maybe you should kick some asses. What's wrong with that? The politician speaking. I don't see anything wrong with that. He didn't identify anybody.
Sorry, if I may. Mr. Roy, do you agree with, or do you think that the PPP is a political party?
If I what?
Do you think that the PPP is a political party? Referring to statements made by the former president at Abuja.
The People's Progressive Party's membership, support, and sympathizers are overwhelmingly East Indian supporters, East Indian people. And to put it in a popular way, they're Indian, some people call them Indian, some people call them Kuli people, and so forth. So I suppose in putting it over that way, the former president was using the local jargon as seeking to make a connection with the people and the way they are seen by others.
Don't you think that your ACRA supporters might have been offended by that statement?
Who is that?
Your ACRA supporters, your African supporters, don't you think they might have been offended by that
No,
statement?
we haven't gotten that feeling. In fact, I think they would welcome it because it's a very forthright statement that was made.
But sir, by extension, the same former president, when Richard said that the West Indies was a black team, he
Was what?
objected. Was a black people team.
Who said that?
Viv Richards,
Uh-huh.
when he said that,
Mhm.
President Jack Deoden objected.
Mhm. Well, these things have to be seen in context. I don't recall the context in which President Jagdeo made those remarks in relation to Viv Richards' statements, but I'm dealing specifically with this one that was reference to Babu Jan.
Mr. Roy Jumopol, you mentioned the need for GCOM to embark on a more vigorous youth education program.
Yeah.
We see the GNYC trying to embark on a similar program on their own behalf.
Who is this?
The Youth Council,
Who they?
National Youth Council,
Who-
GNYC.
Who they?
You don't remember?
Why do you object to?
No, I'm asking, who are these
The
people you're
people you
referring
talked
to?
about last week.
I don't know if you're talking about the same people that he's
The same
talking
The
about.
GNYC, the Guyana National Youth Council, sir.
The same people. Trust me, the same people you talked about last week.
No, but I'm asking, I didn't ask you.
All right.
Well, we're linked, as we said the last time.
You're linked?
Mr. Rohi,
Okay, part
what
of
I'm
the link show.
asking, what I'm asking is, why do you object so much to the GNYC's voter education program? Why the big
Listen,
objection?
we are not objecting to voter education program, Let's get this very clear. We are not objecting to voter education program. In my statement, I referred to need for a more aggressive voter education program. What we are objecting to is the GCOM identifying and selecting a specific youth organization and bringing it under GCOM's umbrella to do the work that GCOM itself should be doing. Now, I've seen statements come out within past days where it is now being admitted that some of this organization's programs are being funded by USAID and by the LEAD project. And we made that point from day one. We are suspicious about such moves.
Their funds come from QSO International.
Pardon?
QSO International.
I don't know if it's come from that. I didn't read that.
That's what they said.
Well,
QSO
they could
International.
say anything.
Okay, sir. So, another question. On Saturday, there was a meeting at the Georgian Cricket Club, and we saw
There was a meeting where?
at Georgian Cricket Club.
Uh-huh.
We saw a lot of PYU members there. But
We saw.
yes,
Well,
I
I wasn't there, so I
I
didn't.
saw, sorry.
How do you know they were
Correction.
PYO?
They saw me, I said Babu John.
Pardon?
PYO t-shirts.
What is that?
I saw them yesterday at Babu John in PYO t-shirts.
But
Same
did you
person.
see them there in PYO t-shirts?
Yes, sir.
At the activity?
No, they weren't doing PYO shirts. When asked their names, they said different. They made
Listen to me.
different statements.
Let's get something clear. You saw them there,
Yes, indeed.
but you didn't see them there in PYO t-shirts. You saw them at the other place, Babu Jan, but you saw them in PYO t-shirts. How you know it was the same people?
I have photos, sir.
Pardon?
I have photos.
You have photos?
Yes. And a
Okay.
video with audio.
I'm asking these questions because, they could be,
There
they
are
may
well-
appear to
they're
be
well-known
technical.
persons, sir.
They may appear to be technical, but they have to be of evidential value. They have to be of evidential value. So your task is to be able to convince the public out there that it's the same people who was at that activity you're speaking about, it's the same people who are there.
Very well, sir.
Mr. Rohi, what role does Kwame McCoy play in the PPP?
Who's that?
Kwame McCoy,
What happened with him?
presidential liaison, the information liaison to the president. What role does he play in the PPP?
In the PPP?
Yeah,
He's a member of the Central Committee of the PPP.
okay.
And whatever roles Central Committee members play, he will be playing that.
So did the PPP or the PYO or some sanctioned Mr. McCoy to go and break up the GNYC meeting on Saturday?
I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware that he was among those who we are. I'm made to understand what you're saying for what you're saying.
He was there.
He says that he was a celebrity, sir, but he's
The confusion is-
representing the PPP.
He what?
Does the PYR...
He said he was representing the PPP?
Well, he clearly was.
No. Did he say he was representing the PPP?
Is it usual, sir, for him to act on his own?
No. Listen, you can't shift the goalpost, man. Did he say he was representing the PPP at that
I
function?
take back that question. That question is no longer on the table, sir.
Okay.
But does Mr. McCoy usually represent the PPP on his own?
On his own,
Yeah.
the PPP.
Like he shows up, I'm executive member of the PPP, I'm here to represent the PPP. Does he do that?
No, but did he say that? Did he use those words?
I didn't hear him use those words, but I interrupted, sir.
He did say.
But what?
Just common sense.
My friend, you gotta be careful. The common sense thing don't operate when I'm speaking to the media here. Because whatever I say, trust me, will be reported, verbatim. If not by any of you, by the Starbuck News.
Okay, sir. Can I ask this question? Are you distancing yourself from the activities of Mr. McCoy?
I do not know what activity you're speaking about in respect to Mr. McCoy's involvement. I am not aware of that. I've never seen any report. There's nothing in the papers today that says anything to that effect. Pardon?
Full report with the
iNews? Who are they?
The same people you caused with
Glad that
Kaipur.
you know your findings and spoke about us competing with them at the end of the year.
Well, since I stopped speaking about iNews, I stopped recognizing iNews.
That's sad. You should read us more often.
Yeah, well,
You know what's wrong about iNews.
imagine I'm being told what I should read now. That's the state which we've gotten to.
All right, any
Yes,
other
sir.
questions?
Yes. I want to go back to Babu Jan.
Mm.
Prime Minister Sam Hines says, I serve, I'm being shifted aside, I will continue to serve.
What is that?
Sam Hines,
Uh-huh.
Prime Minister,
Yeah.
I served,
Uh-huh.
I am being moved aside.
That's what he said?
I can't tell you the whole speech, you're going to take the whole press conference.
Comrade. Y'all use these press conferences to shout all these things to TRAP people.
Come on.
Listen to me. I am not aware that he used those words.
That might be, all right, he did not say that he was being moved aside.
You know why I say that? Because whatever I say is taken down and reported,
All right.
Let
me go back to the top. Prime Minister Sam Hines made a speech at Abuja.
yes.
Prime Minister Sam Hines will no longer be Prime Minister. He's being replaced. Prime Minister Sam Hines says he will continue to serve. The question at this stage, sir, traditionally, holder of senior offices would resign or retire, unless in the case of former President Jack Dewey, the Constitution made certain demands. What was the criterion or criteria for moving Sam Hines as Prime Minister?
Well, to be honest with you, the leadership of the party met. And at many of these press conferences, you yourself have sat in at many of them, and I was constantly being asked, who is going to be our prime ministerial candidate? I have to assume that the rationale behind that question being posed was that there was some expectation on the part of some that there was going to be some renewal in that specific area. And the expectation of the public out there in general is that there will be some renewal and rejuvenation in respect to the faces of the PPP. The party, having considered the matters from all angles in great depth, felt that it was timely to make a change of its prime ministerial candidate. And all things being equal, that decision was made. The position was communicated to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister took the decision in good stead, as he is normally wont to do. And at the end of the process, as you know, on that wonderful Saturday morning, the party announced its prime ministerial candidate, much to the surprise of many operatives in the media and in the political hustings.
Now, having said that, sir, and having promised that the party is rejuvenating, or, work for rejuvenation in relation to faces of the PPP, is it likely that your list would reflect that and the subsequent cabinet appointments would reflect that rejuvenation?
Well, I read one of Mr. Ramkaran's columns last Sunday, where he in a mood of prophesizing said that the PPP appears to have run out of new faces and seems to be incapable of throwing up new names. Well, the most that I could say at this point in time, insofar as Mr. Ramkaran's prognosis is concerned, that he is way off mark. This party, this PPPC, has great potential. This PPPC has the ability to attract many to its ranks. And this PPP has never, ever been bankrupt of ideas and the perspicacity to have a list of candidates that is attractive to the electorate. What we have to do at this point in time is to sit and ponder, sit and wonder what the PPP's list of candidates is likely to be, and take the position that we should not be surprised by the unexpected.
And if nobody else, I can keep another question. The former president told Dr. John, don't listen to them, don't worry with BMB Big House, other people got Big House. How did that go down with you?
With me personally, it went down well. In fact, when he spoke, I smiled to myself. I said, good shot, Bharat.
Minister, last week we spoke with, Nightly News spoke with the son of the late President Jagan, Joy Jagan.
Who spoke about what?
Nightly News, our newscast, spoke with Joy Jagan. And he said for the last election, he campaigned for the PPP. He said for this election, however, he will not be campaigning for the party. Is the PPP concerned about that at all?
Well, these positions by Dr. Jagan are not surprising. If you to follow his sojourns politically over the years, you obviously will see the direction in which he's headed. I once told his mom that, Joey is an excellent dentist, but a poor politician. And she smiled when I said that. And that would be my response to that.
Mr. Roy, was any member of the Jagan family invited to the background event?
They usually do. I mean, I don't peruse the list of invitees, but they would usually do, because I saw one of his sisters there. I think it was Barbara. Barbara was there. And at the function at State House to mark International Women's Day, there were a number of them. I recall Barbara being there as well as her daughter being there as well. So, you know, the Jagans are usually invited because there's some other activities that are going to be held to observe the month of Chedi Jagans activities. There's going to be a function at Red House, the annual lecture series. There's going to be a family fun day at State House. And there's going to be an activity at home at Chedi at the house at Bel Air, among other activities. And they're usually invited.
But
to
Minister,
those functions.
Joey said he was not invited to Baba John. I have that on record.
As I said before, I don't really peruse the list of invitees. You know.
Mr. Ohi,
Very funny.
is the party concerned about the absence of the ERC this elections period?
The who?
ERC, Ethnic Relations Commission, sorry.
To be very frank and direct with you, I would think that that question should be appropriately put to the head of the presidential secretariat, not on behalf of the party, but because the ERC is a constitutional body, you know, and the office of the president, Madam Gail Teixeira herself and Dr. Luncheon being the ones who bear the responsibility to ensure, you know, the future of organizations such as that, I would respectfully suggest. But insofar as the PVP is concerned, we usually would take guidance from our representatives in government on these matters, and based on what guidance they offer to us, then we usually would coincide with them on that.
Sir, but I know you've been warned about the waste baiting by the opposition parties.
I have been warned.
There have been warnings about that.
Who would be warned about that?
I saw a headline in the Ghanaian Times today which actually warned about waste baiting. Is the party generally concerned about the absence of this body, critical body, during this period?
Well, I'm not so sure that body had the responsibility to monitor statements which they perceive to be offensive to any particular ethnic group. One would have to examine the TORs to establish whether they have any say on such matters as distinct from other bodies which have the responsibility to pronounce on such matters.
Sir,
If so, go ahead. Go ahead.
sir, I was about to ask you, did the party apply to the Burmese River Bridge for a waiver of toll? Because many of the transport that went across the bridge was exempt from toll yesterday. If so, to whom did the party apply for that waiver?
I am not aware of anything of that nature. I'm not aware of that.
You didn't pay toll yesterday.
We don't pay a toll. We are still functioning. You know, we still have our cards from Parliament. It's still valid. It has been withdrawn.
I pay every time I pass that bridge.
You didn't pay yesterday?
Yeah, no, I didn't pass yesterday. I passed before yesterday and I paid. Yes, Sam, for sure.
I wanted to know what the time frame was between the selection of Ms. Harper as the Prime Minister candidate and the party letting the current Prime Minister know that he would be moving aside. What was that time frame? When was the initial discussion?
I can't say. That matter was left to the President. That matter was left to the President to fulfill.
And who
I can't
initially
say.
made the recommendation for Ms. Harper?
Who initially made the recommendation?
I know a couple press conferences ago you had alluded to the fact that it might have been you, but I'm not quite sure.
The decision in respect to Mrs. Harper to be the presidential candidate was a collective decision.
But who first set
Just a
the
minute, just a minute. It was a collective decision. I am not going to tell tales out of school about which individual in the executive made that recommendation. What I said, which apparently was misunderstood by Starbuck News,
I never wrote it.
was that when The recommendation went from the executive to the central committee. You have to understand the structures. The recommendation went from the executive to the central committee. And it was I, as the general secretary, who conveyed the decision of the executive to the central committee. Is that clear?
Good. Any other questions? If not, thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Hello.
Mr. I just have a question.